No one wanted the house on Willow Lane. It stood at the end of the street, shadowed by two old oak trees that leaned together like tired giants. Peeling paint, once cheerful white, surrendered to time, long gray strips of flaking paint like shedding skin. Windows stared with a vacant, dusty gaze. The porch sagged in the middle, tired and surrendered. People in town told stories about it. They whispered it was haunted. Strange things happened inside after the sun went down. Vague stories, full of shadows, and sounds no one could quite describe. Enough to keep everyone away. Tom heard all the stories, from co-workers during lunch breaks, from the cashier at the grocery store. He heard the house was cheap, incredibly cheap. He drove by Willow Lane one afternoon. He saw cracked paint, tired windows, but also a sturdy stone foundation and old wood floors through grimy glass. He liked the big overgrown yard. Ignoring whispers and warnings, he signed the papers. He moved in. The first night was quiet. Tom carried boxes from his truck into the living room, his footsteps echoing in the empty space. The house made small, comforting sounds. Water pipes ticked softly as they cooled. Wind brushed the eaves, a gentle, rhythmic sigh. Tom smiled as he worked. He set down the last box, plugged in a small lamp, and watched its warm light push back the shadows.
Old houses do that.
On the second night, something changed. Tom woke suddenly at 2 o'clock. A deep chill had settled in the bedroom. A cold different from the autumn air outside. He pulled the thin blanket to his chin and listened. That's when he heard it. A soft creak from the floorboards directly above. The attic. A slow, deliberate sound, like a single, careful footstep. He held his breath, straining to hear more. He thought of the warnings and the stories. He listened for a long time. The noise did not come again. Only silence remained. The next day, while unpacking a box of books, Tom found a strange mark on the hallway wall. It was a dark smudge against the faded floral wallpaper, about the height of his shoulder, a finger smudge, old and dusted, as if it had been there for years. Later that afternoon, he found another one, on the frame of the back door, just as small, just as dusty, just as inexplicable. He wiped the first smudge with his sleeve. The fine gray dust came right off, revealing faded wallpaper underneath. Tom mentioned the strange occurrences to his neighbor, Mrs. Hayes, a frail-looking woman with thin white hair and eyes that had seen many years. 2 houses down, in a neat bungalow with roses.
Oh, that house. They say a man died in there a long, long time ago. No one seems to remember his name. He used to come and go in the night, quiet as a mouse. Some folks say he never truly left the place.
She looked past Tom toward the house. Tom offered a small, unconvincing laugh and walked back home, her words echoing in his mind. That night, he did not sleep well at all. He felt a persistent unease, as if not entirely alone. Every creak and rattle seemed to hold sinister meaning. He left a small lamp on in the hallway, its glow a fragile shield. As days turned to a week, the house seemed to grow bolder. The spare bedroom door, always closed, slightly ajar by morning. A wooden chair moved a tiny bit. Once the old radio crackled to life with a haunting tune before falling silent. Tom tried to blame loose wires or drafts, but he could never find a logical cause. One morning, Tom walked into the kitchen to make coffee and stopped dead in his tracks. On the very center of the small wooden table sat a piece of paper, yellowed, brittle, as if stored away for decades. On it, in neat, careful handwriting, "Don't leave." A sharp, cold shiver traced his spine. He hadn't told anyone he was thinking of leaving. He folded the note and slipped it into his pocket. He couldn't throw it away. He found a single muddy boot print in the soft earth below his bedroom window, though it hadn't rained in days. A set of old, tarnished keys appeared on the counter. They didn't fit any lock in the house. A thin, faded red ribbon tied in a neat bow around the staircase rail. They were arranged like small, strange gifts, offerings left by an unseen hand. He felt watched. Tom tried to find a rational explanation. He called the landlord, gruff, impatient, annoyed by questions. The previous tenant always paid on time, then one day left. No forwarding address, no explanation. He didn't want to talk about notes or ribbons. The call left Tom more isolated, stuck as the house revealed its secrets. At night, the house felt like a puzzle. Clocks would stop at 12:07. A chair marked a path. Curtains swayed with locked windows. It was leading him somewhere. His strange, silent search led him to a dusty old coat rack tucked under the stairs. Forgotten furniture he'd ignored. But the chair in the dining room had been angled directly toward it. Pushing aside a heavy moth-eaten coat, Tom saw it. The faint outline of a door. There was no handle, just a small notch. He dug his fingers in and pulled. The door swung inward with a low groan, revealing a small, dark space. The air smelled of dust, old cloth, and something faintly metallic. Inside, barely room to stand, completely empty except for a single object. A newspaper, yellowed and brittle. He picked it up carefully, fingers trembling. The headline was stark and chilling. 5 victims missing, no trace. The date, 20 years ago. 5 people vanished within miles of Willow Lane. Massive searches found no bodies, no struggle. Only small clues. A muddy boot print, a ripped ribbon, a strange note. The clues felt sickeningly familiar. He sank to the floor, thinking of the note, the smudge, the ribbon. The fear was not of a ghost, but of a pattern repeating. That night, the atmosphere in the house shifted. The creaks gained a rhythm. Footsteps pacing, back and forth, like a man deep in thought. Tom watched the top of the stairway. Moonlight traced the elegant curve of the rail where the red ribbon had been. At exactly 12:07, the old clock stopped with a soft chime.
You should not leave.
The breath of cold air against his skin. But no one there. A tall, thin shadow crossed the doorframe. The lamp trembled. The bulb flickered and steadied. He wanted to scream. The sound trapped. He swallowed his fear and crept to the door. The hallway was empty. You should not leave. The words pulled him forward. Down the main staircase, across the moonlit living room, to the cellar door at the back of the kitchen. The brass doorknob was cold. He started down the steep wooden steps. Each groaned under his weight. The cellar smelled of damp earth, rotting wood, a faint coppery scent, old pennies and iron. A single bare bulb swung, casting long dancing shadows. In the far corner, almost hidden, a small wooden chair. Draped on it, an old-fashioned fedora, thick with dust. Everything else was swept clean. He picked it up, heavier than expected, felt thick and stiff with dust. He caught a faint scent of soap and old tobacco, so human. He placed it on his head a moment. It fit perfectly. He let out a short, nervous laugh. The swinging light revealed something he hadn't seen. Scratches covering the wall. They weren't random marks. They were names, carved hastily into the rough stone. Mary, John, Sarah. The names went on and on, a grim ledger. Near the bottom, one name had a date scratched next to it, from last year. A wave of nausea. The disappearances hadn't stopped 20 years ago. People had still been taken. He stumbled back, dropping the hat, and ran for the stairs.
911, what's your emergency? Tom tried to explain. The house, the names, the voice.
You are safe. We will send a car. Stay on the line.
Tom waited, clutching the phone. The house waited too. The lamp in the hall went out. Sudden, absolute. He felt 2 hands on his shoulders. A man stood in the doorway between the kitchen and living room, silhouetted in moonlight. He wore a long, dark coat and a hat shadowing his face. Thin, almost gaunt. A small, unnervingly calm smile. Dark, empty eyes. He moved with a slow, easy grace, the familiarity of someone who knew every creak and shadow. He belonged here.
You should not leave.
It was the same voice, but not ghostly. Ordinary. Human. A plain, forgettable face, with faint scars across the knuckles. Tom tried to speak, to demand who he was. The line to the police had gone dead. The calm voice was gone. He thought of the note, the ribbon, the boot print, the yellowed article, the names in stone. This man was not a victim. He was the cause.
You did this. The man's smile widened, a performer pleased to finally be seen. He seemed pleased to be found.
Man, I kept them here. They never left either. Narrator. The room seemed to tilt.
Narrator. The haunting was a performance, a carefully constructed show to frighten, confuse, isolate. The house was his stage. He breathed sinister life into its creaks, nurtured the town's ghost stories. Narrator. He opened doors, moved chairs, made the radio sing phantom tunes, disorienting victims, making them doubt themselves. Narrator. He was the secret behind the whispers, the living heart of the haunted house. He was the ghost. Narrator. The clues weren't warnings. They were invitations. The voice that told him to stay was human. Ownership. A game. He meant Tom to find the paper, the room, the cellar. Narrator. Tom fumbled for the door. The man closed the distance in an instant, hand clamping Tom's wrist. A warm, living, iron grip.
Man, you will not leave.
A desperate surge of adrenaline. He would not be a ghost in this house. With sudden strength, Tom tore free. He ran.
Stay. Stay for just a little while. His voice carried easily through the house.
Tom didn't look back. He burst into the cold night, ran down the cracked walkway, and into the street until the house was a dark shape behind trees. Nearly an hour later, the police arrived. The man waited at the gate in a neat coat and hat, smiling and waving. He said he was a previous tenant checking on the place. The new owner was jumpy, spooked by old house noises. He seemed ordinary, polite. They left. From the far end of the street, Tom watched. A curtain moved in an upstairs window, a slow, deliberate wave. The house looked empty, but he knew better.